I think my approach is a bit different. I'm not here to sell you on BIM and how great it is. I think everybody knows of the benefits. What I'm here to talk about is our perspective on how it can work well. So I walked in while Brenda was wrapping up and she talked about if she got a model where the daylighting was done properly, it simplifies documentation on her side because she can enter some inputs and spit out and do a check and verify the lead credit. So from our side, if the model is done properly from the architectural side, from day one, we can enter our parameters electrically, mechanically, and then hit print, get the model out to wherever it needs to go and get a set of drawings and send it in for verification. But if that model initially is not done properly, or if there's no process put in place to start that properly, then the rest of it is just somebody doing 3D drafting, doing clash detection, and spitting out a model that nobody can use from the FM point of view, and a set of drawings, and you do things the old way, just the way everybody does it. So your comment about, Victor's comment about where does it start, and I think where I'd like to suggest is projects usually start at the FM level, I think. The FM defines an issue. Classes, if I take an institution, you've got a university, you're always overbooked, I can't get a room, you start defining a program, you meet with a user group, you get in a planning consultant. A planning consultant comes in and starts talking about what do you need, what are your needs, and how we define space integration, and how many staff do you need, what's the FTE, how big of a facility do you want, and then at the end you get a page about 500 pages thick, a book about 500 pages thick that nobody has time to read, and it's got a ton of spreadsheets. Well, that's where BIM needs to start. BIM starts when you start defining the project. You bring everybody in up front, you define the parameters, your room data sheets start getting populated when you define the project. Not when you pass it to the architect and he's got to spend 3 months populating a database. So I think that's my preface to the whole BIM discussion. And so a bit about the firm. The firm started about 11 years ago. We opened in Vancouver just before the recession. Timing was perfect, September 08. We're now about 36, 37 staff in Vancouver, collectively 55 individuals, and we do Div 26, 27, 28 only. Just about every sector in the market, non-residential. And the last line is really what it's all about. It's the KISS principle that we employ everywhere. So if it doesn't work in design and I've got to have technology to fix technology, as I tell my wife, don't buy stuff to use stuff, just buy the stuff, right? So if you're buying something to make something else work, no one's going to use it when it comes to using the technology later on. So our idea is about making things simple, and then on the FM side, allowing you to use it on the buildings. Background, 15 years in the industry in design and 7 years in construction. I was an electrician in the beginning, so I can speak to it a little bit. And my passion in design is live in building. So live in building, net zero, Brenda, a lot of the projects that she had up there, we were involved in together in some capacity. So live in building, net zero, and now we're looking at regenerative buildings. It's all possible, it's all doable, and I think if BIM is done properly, which is what I'm here to talk about, not about how to make it work for electrical, I think life can be much simpler. So I'll just get right into it. What is BIM? BIM is building information modeling. BIM is not 2D drawing, BIM is not 3D drawing, BIM is not drawing walls, and those are the outputs. BIM is about building information modeling and inputting information into a database. So a simple example, air handler in a building. If you've got an air handler, you populate it with all the right attributes, the size, the height, the weight. Structural works with the weight, we work with the electrical parameters, architects work with the rest of it. It's containing information, and we use that to design our projects. The output could be a 3D model. You issue it to a design build or a design contractor, and they'll use the model. And some still work in the old method where they want to set 2D drawings and they work with 2D drawings. So both are outputs of it. And there was a comment about Kleenex and tissue, and I think you mentioned that earlier. Revit is a product. So BIM is the technology, it's your tissue, and Revit is like Kleenex, right? It's one of many ways to get you there. It is not the only way to get you there. I think we had a few examples with Victor and the other folks up front. So I think what we need to get our heads wrapped around is the way we design projects must change. And I'll use many examples of my own, and some can relate to it that we're doing projects with. Majority of the projects, you take your standard 50, 100,000 square foot facility, a school, university, a courthouse, an office tower, what have you, majority of the decisions do not include anybody from FM. Okay? It's usually done by somebody else on the capital side, maybe not the operational side. So I think we need to change that, and that is not something we can drive. We can ask for that, but it usually gets driven by the owners. So you'd be driving that and bringing the FM into the group. Secondly, a lot of the design decisions that we as consultants are looking for from the owners and the decision makers on projects usually get done 1 month before tender. So we spent the last 4 weeks before tender scrambling and getting our drawings together, and then we issuing addenda, post-tender addenda, possibly change orders. That's the old way of doing things, whether it was manual drafting or 2D AutoCAD. But we're doing the same with BIM. We need to make decisions up front and stick to them. So you're making a wall, you're drawing up a wall, draw it properly so that the mechanical guy can use that model and do his energy modeling. Draw it properly, draw the walls and intersect them properly so that the electrical can do his daylighting. The modeling's got to get done properly up front. And then you got to make some decisions and stick to them. Yes, you can make changes, changes do happen, but you've got ceilings on a project, fix them. Fix the height, fix the ceilings. If you want to be able to modify and change them, have a process that allows for that. I'm doing a project that's getting tendered on Monday. On Monday of this week, we got an email from the design team lead. We've updated the Revit model, please update it and get us the drawings for the following week. We've done an update, the ceilings are gone. We're now going with an open ceiling concept. Well, I've got a week. You want me to redo all my cable tray, all my lighting, and make it all disappear because I don't want to see any of it because, oh, if I see anything beyond wood and glass. So that process needs to change, and we can still do that, but those decisions have to get done much, much earlier on the project. And all we're talking about is it surfaced? What type of finishes are they? What's the reflectivity? Is the furniture 30 inches? Is it 42? What's the finishing on the furniture? Is it pre-wired? Is it not? Not let's change the building type and let's go from a double to a triple glaze. We can't do that at the end, and that's what's happening in our process, and that needs to change. Front-end loading, we need to put a lot more design effort up front. So the traditional allocation of 10%, 15%, 40% effort of SD, DD, CD, and then your construction, that's changed. It's more 15, 20% SD, and it's about 25, 30% DD, because we're doing a lot more up front. We're fixing those rooms. The electrical rooms are fixed, mechanicals are fixed, and we're going forward. So if we're not doing that and we're still doing things the old way, BIM's not going to work. Mechanical, I'll pick on mechanical because no one here is mechanical on the panel, so we can talk about them. Mechanical starts their design on a model, and I wasn't going to pick on an architect sitting next to two of them. Architects get their models done to a point, structure gets involved, and then mechanical starts inputting data. And it might just be pipe layouts, but really it's about the big boxes, right? So get the big shafts in, do your class detection, get the height sorted out, because we really want to establish the ceiling plane, because I want a high ceiling, I don't want 8-foot ceilings. And then put your devices in. Well, if you're going to draw a box that's of a certain size and call it air handler 7, and give me a mechanical motor schedule, that's not BIM. That's using Revit plus I got to meet the deadline plus doing everything in AutoCAD. What you should be doing is that air handler or that rooftop unit should have all the attributes built into it. And all I say is that air handler connects to that NCC, I'm done. When it goes into construction, the contractor takes it and says, I'm not going to buy from Crane, I'm going to buy from XYZ. He updates the parameters, everything updates. The FM gets a model at the end of the day where the shop drawings and the O&Ms are in BIM. Not in a binder that is not complete, that you can never get to when you chase it for 6 months after occupancy. Jeremy's laughing because that's standard, standard protocol in our business. Moving right along, and I'm going to talk about basically one of the items Nick had suggested I bring forward, and I think Geraldine will do a follow-up on it as well. Our process has changed, and we've gone from I used to say etch-a-sketch, but you know, carving in stone to actually drawing and blueprints. I did manual drafting, but that was for 2-3 years, and then we switched. And then it's AutoCAD, and now it's BIM. The AutoCAD, manual drafting world, to put it in perspective, it's like staying at an all-inclusive resort in Mexico or in Turks and Caicos, right? I'm in Turks and Caicos. This is my room. I walk 2 steps and I'm at the beach. And I forgot my towel. I go back, get my towel. Oh, forgot my flip-flops. Go back, get my flip-flops. Oh, the sun came out. I need some sunscreen, some shades. You go back. So you can go back and forth as many times as you want and make changes till a week before tender. No problem. Okay, that's your manual drafting world. You get into AutoCAD and it's about driving there. So I'm in Vancouver and I'm going out to Cultus Lake. I got to do some planning. I've got to pack up some stuff, I got to pack up some gear, and I got to get out there. So I've got to do some more planning, and if there's changes, it's going to cost me time or money. And the standard in our projects, right? Time, money, or quality. So you can't forget everything, otherwise you'll never get to the beach. And what we're trying to get to is BIM, and BIM is like staying in Vancouver, but going to Turks and Caicos by plane. So I want to get there. Well, I can't forget and make trips back and forth from the airport to Turks and Caicos, fly back because I forgot my flip-flops. I've got to pack, I've got to organize, I've got to decide, it's the end of DD, I'm done. These are frozen, let's move forward on the rest of the details. And I think that's an example of what needs to change on the process, and we're not doing it. So what's really happening? We're actually driving to Turks and Caicos. We've got an airplane, we've got a Cadillac, we've got a Bentley, we've got the best of the best for technology. We're not using it. We're stuck in first year and we're trying to get around town. And that's the struggle we have with this process. So I think the process needs to change, and I think as FMs, the only thing I can put out there is please chat with the folks that put the projects together. Get involved up front, get your BIM started before the planning guys get involved, not when the architects are involved. And then the rest of it gets done to the method you want, with the room tags that you want, with the layouts that work for you.